Hello everyone. In this video, I will be explaining Amazon DynamoDB, a fully managed NoSQL database service provided by AWS. We will cover its key features, use cases, and how it can benefit your application. So let's get started. So in this complete video, I will be explaining about what is DynamoDB, why we need, and what are the key features and what its components, and what are the use cases that DynamoDB have, and advantages and disadvantages. At the last, I'll show you a simple demo on DynamoDB. So let's understand what is DynamoDB. So DynamoDB is fully managed and it is a serverless NoSQL database service provided by AWS, and it is designed to support key value and document data modules, allow for fast and flexible data access. In DynamoDB we can access the data fastly. So these services ideal for applications that require high performance, scalability, and low latency response, and it automatically scales to accommodate traffic springs and replicated data across multiple availability zone for high availabilities. And it's commonly used in use cases like it can be a real-time applications, mobile applications, e-commerce platforms, and IoT devices as well as. So let's understand why we need DynamoDB. So DynamoDB is a most popular choice for developers and organization due to its abilities to handle large volumes of data with low latencies and a high availability. So DynamoDB handles a large volumes of data. So the developers and the organization choose the DynamoDB. So it's a serverless nature and it eliminates the need to manage servers, allow teams to focus on development instead of infrastructure. Without with auto scaling, it can automatically adjust its capacity to handle traffic springs, make it ideal for your application with unpredictable workload. And also DynamoDB supports for key value and a document data model, provides flexibility for various application needs, and additionally it offers a built-in security with encryptions and IMI access control and a global replication to ensure data availability across AWS region. These features make it a top choice for real-time application, e-commerce platforms, IoT, data management, and a mobile application. For these purpose, they use a DynamoDB. So let's understand the key features of DynamoDB. When it's come to its feature, the first thing is it is a serverless. So no need to manage servers, provisioning or infrastructure. AWS handles server management, patching, and a hardware maintenance. Everything is handled by a AWS, that is Amazon Web Service. So the next thing we have a auto scaling. So it automatically adjusts the capacity to handle traffic spikes, ensure optimal performance during high traffic periods, and saves cost during low traffic. And it also supports on-demand mode, that is pay as you go, and provision mode, that is preset capacity. So the next feature is high availability. Data is automatically replicated across multiple AWS availability zones. It ensures data durability and high availability even in case of a hardware failures, and it also provides a multi-region replication for disaster recovery. So the next is fast performance. So at milliseconds response times for read and write operation, and ideal for real-time applications like gaming, IoT, and e-commerce applications. It provides options for DynamoDB accelerator for ultra fast in memory caching. So the flexible and a data model. It supports both key value and a document data model, and it's suitable for sorting unstructured, semi-structured, and a structured data. And it also allows JSON like data to be stored in a single attribute. make it flexible for various applications also. So the next thing we have is a built-in security. So the DynamoDB has a built-in security, that is data encryption. Data is encrypted at a rest using AWS KMS, that is key management services, and also role-based access control is used using by AWS IAM policies, and it also supports VPC endpoint for secure connection without using the public internet. So that's all about the key features of DynamoDB. So the next thing we have a key components of DynamoDB. Let's see what are the key components we have in a DynamoDB. So the first thing we have are tables. So think of a table like a file folder. It holds a collection of records or items. For example, a user table might store data about different users. So the next thing we have is a items. An item is like a single record or a row in a table. For example, a user profile like John Doe is an item in the user table, the name of the person. So the next we have is a attributes. Attributes are piece of data inside an atom similar to a column in a traditional table. For example, in the user table, the attributes might be name, email, and a age for each users. So the next we have is a primary key. The primary key is used to uniquely identify each item in the table. It's like a unique ID for the each record. So it can be just a partition key, that is for example user ID, or a combination of partition key and a sort key, that is user ID and a timestamp. So the next we have is indexes. Indexes help you find items faster. You can think of them like a special search filters that help you quickly find records based on certain attributes. There are two types uh, in this. One is global secondary index and a local secondary index. When it's come to a global secondary index, it allow you to search using any attributes, but it comes to a local secondary index allow you to search within the same partition but with the different attributes. So the next we have is a use cases of DynamoDB. So the first case we have is a e-commerce applications. In this we have a two types. The first thing is product catalogs and the second thing is shopping carts. So when it's come to a product catalog, DynamoDB is ideal for storing and managing large product catalogs in an e-commerce platform. It can quickly retrieve product details such as names, description, prices, and availability, make it suitable for fast faced online shopping environments. So when it's come to a shopping carts, DynamoDB is highly efficient at managing user shopping cart data. It supports real-time updates, allow customers to add, remove, or modify items in their cart while maintaining fast access to their cart content across multiple devices. So the next use case we have is a mobile and a web application. In this we can see a session data and a user profile. So when it's come to a session data for mobile and a web application, DynamoDB can store session related information such as user login details, authentication tokens, and a temporary session states. It provides low latency access, enabling smooth and continuous user experience, especially when dealing with the large number of active sessions. So when it's come to user profiles, DynamoDB is well suited for managing user profile data such as preference, settings, active logs, and personalized content. It enables real-time updates to user profiles, ensuring that the user-specific data is available instantly across devices, providing a personalized and a consistent experience. So the next use case we have a gaming application. In gaming application we have a two methods, that is one is for player profiles and in-game states. So Well, comes to player profiles in gaming application, DynamoDB helps store and manage player profiles, which include essential data like its username, achievements, what is the highest scores, and game progress. It allows for faster retrieval and updating of these data, ensuring that players' in-game experience are seamless and personalized. So when it's come to a in-game states, DynamoDB is commonly used to manage and track in-game statistics such as scores, ranking, inventory, and a player progress, which its low latency and a high throughput capabilities. It ensures that the game state remain up to date in a real time, enhancing gameplay and a player interaction. So the last use case we have is a IoT applications. So in this we can see a real-time data from IoT devices. DynamoDB is perfect for storing and processing real-time data generated by IoT devices. It can handle vast amounts of data from scenarios, devices, and connected objects, ensuring scalability to manage the growth of the IoT networks. DynamoDB provide fast read and write operations, making it ideal for applications that requires quick access to time sensitive data for monitoring, analysis, or a decision making. So these use cases highlights how DynamoDB flexibility, scalability, and a low latency performance make it a powerful choice for applications that require a real-time data handling and a fast, reliable access. So the next topic we have what are the advantages of DynamoDB? So, firstly, Amazon DynamoDB is a managed NoSQL database service provided by AWS, and it offers several advantages and disadvantages depending on the use cases. So, let's see first see the advantages of DynamoDB. When it's come to its advantages, first thing it's a scalability. So it automatically scale up and down to handle large amount of traffic, ensuring that it can accommodate spikes in the traffic without manual intervention. And it is also a managed service. It is fully managed, meaning AWS handle infrastructure, patching, scaling. These reduce the operational overhead. It is fully managed. All things are handled by a AWS. And it is a high availability. It offers a built-in high availability and a fault tolerance. Data is automatically replicated across multiple availability zones. And when it's come to its performance, it provides low latency read and write operation, making it suitable for high performance applications. So the next we have is a flexible data model. It supports key value and a document data structures, allowing flexibility in how data is stored. So the next is it is fully managed backup and a restore. It provides automated backups, point in time recovery, and on demand backup restore capabilities. So these are the advantages of DynamoDB. So when it's come to its disadvantages of DynamoDB, it has several disadvantages and limitations also. Let's see what are the disadvantages it have. So first is limited query flexibility. DynamoDB supports simple query operations using primary keys, but complex queries like joins, filtering, and aggregations are limited compared to the relational database. When it's compared to the relational database, DynamoDB has a limited queries in AWS. The next thing is pricing complexity. Pricing can be difficult to estimate, especially for a read write throughputs, data storage, and a backup cost. If not configured properly, it can lead to unexpected charges. So, consistent models. DynamoDB offers eventual consistency by default, but you can configure it for strongly consistent read, which can impact performance. Choosing the wrong consistency model can affect application behavior. and it also have a item size limits. Each item in DynamoDB can be a maximum of 400 KB, which may be restrictive for some use cases, and write and read capacity units. While DynamoDB autoscale its pricing model based on provision and throughput, read and write capacity units may be challenging to optimize without monitoring usage pattern. So, in the summary, overall, the DynamoDB is ideal for application requiring high availability, scalability, and a fast access to simple data. However, if your application requires complex queries, joins, or relational data structure, a relational database might be better to fit it. For a simple queries, you can use a DynamoDB, or if you want complex queries, then you better go for a relational database. So let's go to the AWS account. I'll show you how to create a simple DynamoDB tables and all. So go to the DynamoDB. So this is the dashboard of the DynamoDB. So we have the dashboard and we have the tables well we created. As of now, we don't have any tables. So click on create table. So give the name of the table name. So here I'm giving the called students. So here we need to give the partition key. The partition key is the part of the table and it's called a primary key. It has a hash value that is used to retrieve item from your table and allocate data across host of the scalability and availability. So here I'm giving the primary key that is student ID, and it's a string. And if you want a short key you can give, or else it's an optional. I am not choosing anything there. So when it's come to a table setting, I'll keep it as default setting. So in the default setting, it's a faster way to create your table. You can modify most of these settings after your table has been created. To modify these settings now, you can choose a customized also. You can use customized setting also. So the rest of the thing will be default. So click on create table. So the table is creating. So let's wait a few minutes until it's get creates. So as the table is now activated, so let's enter to the student tables. So as of now we don't have any tables. We need to create the tables in this. So click on explore table items. So let's go and create items here. So let's give the ID for the student 1, add attribute, student name. student age, student address. So let's create on item. So it will create the item. See, here we have created the items. So let's add another student. So click on student 2, add attributes. So here I'm giving the student age, student country. So create on item. So see, here we have created the two table. The blank space I have not given anything for here. So this is the thing how the we can add the tables and create the tables. So here we have a two option. One is called scan and another thing is a query. So when it's come to scan operation, a scan operation examines all the items in a table and returns every items, and it's more resource intensive compared to the a query. So completed and it will show all the tables. So when you select the query operation, these query operation, here we need to give the student ID partition key. So a query operation is more efficient and searches for items based on the partition key to find a specific item. So here I'm giving the 2. That's a partition 2. So it's run completely. So here it's showing only the student ID. Number 2, it's showing only. So when we scan, when click on the scan, it will show the entire table and table with whatever the details we have, it will show all of them. When we click on the query and we need to give the student ID, that's a primary key name. So when we click on a run, it will show a particular student ID. So this is how the DynamoDB will work and how it's going to work in the AWS. So that's all about the AWS DynamoDB. I have shown you demo and all. So that's all about it. Thank you.